Welcome to the Marketing Intern Spotlight. A marketing intern is a listener who's spreading our message authentically. Hear their story, their passion, and their journey. Enjoy.
Bang.
Joey Puck, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. How you doing today?
Dude, I don't think I've ever been better, honestly. We got deck of cards in Sierra Mist. Beautiful day in a mansion in uptown Minneapolis. I mean, let's get it on. Let's get it on.
I can't believe I was just called deck of cards, but let's go, dude. Decky flush is what they sometimes call me in poker. You know, there's a lot of things. Decky three of a kind.
Oh, man.
Andy hint of lime?
Hint of lime?
Ooh, with a splash of lemon?
Ooh, damn, dude.
That's a good mix right there. You know where I was keeping that one?
Yep.
My back pocket.
Yeah.
I prep for that. I absolutely prep for that.
Oh, Joey, you're coming at us with energy, and I can't wait to ride this wave.
Dude, let's ride it together, man. Let's ride it together. It's like those chains on those like ski behind the boats. We're just locking arms.
Yep.
Riding it.
Mm-hmm.
You're crazy, dude.
Dude, I have like all right, I'll be up front. I have like a caffeine sensitivity, right?
Okay.
So like I'm not supposed to have like a lot of caffeine. Right before I got here, definitely went over to Caribou.
You did not.
Got the large. So if I'm like a little shaky or a little off, it's that caffeine
The
sensitivity.
caffeine's rolling through your veins.
Dude, energy wise, absolutely level 10 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Level 10.
All right, so I'm trying to think of the last time I even freaking saw you, dude. Like, it might have been even like 2 years ago at St. Thomas.
Yeah.
It may have been. And
that's sad because we live in the same city.
Yep.
we
tough.
were,
Yeah.
I don't know, less than 10 miles away from each other for 2 years. We're just going on parallel paths in an upward trajectory, as some would say.
Yeah. No, I love that.
But, dude, catch us up, man. What have you been up to? Give our marketing interns a little bit of a background of who you are. Who's J-Man? Let's get this thing going.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I guess career-wise, I currently work for Medtronic in like a territory development role. It's like a associate or support role. But I'll kind of like back up. I always knew I wanted to like get into sales coming into college. That's why I studied marketing and I did a Spanish minor, which I don't use whatsoever. But always knew I wanted to get into sales. I have passion for people, passion for winning. So I figured, those two things go hand in hand with sales or whatever. But when I was in college, I was trying to figure out like, okay, what do I want to go support or what do I want to go represent? Fortunately enough, I had a number of mentors, and one guy really stuck out that, they say like modeling, like success leaves clues, like find somebody you want to be like and kind of follow their footsteps because then you'll ultimately, try to become like that person. And this guy just had a it factor about him that I was just like, I want to be this guy. Like literally I would trade places with you and lose 30 years off my life because that's how like impactful the conversations I had with him were. Anyways, he was like a manager at Medtronic at the time, and he kind of told me, go get some like outside sales, B2B experience, get some proven track record, like learn how to sell, learn how to deal with people, like work negotiations and stuff like that. And so that's what I did out of school, worked at this Japanese automation company, was slinging some ink, selling printers.
No way. Slinging ink.
Yeah. Like
How'd you find them? How'd they find you?
They LinkedIn actually, man. Power of LinkedIn is real. It's definitely real.
We know.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys know. I love your stuff. Keep throwing out value. And basically, I got connected with this company, and they're like, yeah, we love to hire out of school grads, guys that are coming in and we're willing to grind. I was like, that's perfect. That's me. So then, did that for a year and a half, 2 years, reevaluated, and then reconnected with Medtronic and saw an opening, and then, took advantage of the opportunity. So,
dang.
Yeah, man. And honestly, like the reason why med device for me is like a passion of mine, or like that's why I want to be in it, is it's honestly like the best of both worlds. You have like the performance on like the sales side of things, but then you also get the care. Like I'm supporting and selling a product that's ultimately going to impact somebody's life and extend their life, so for me, like that's kind of what gets me up in the morning, and that's honestly like the driving force, or like my purpose behind why I wanted to get into med device. And that's how I aligned with Bob, is the guy's name, that my mentor.
Sick, dude.
I remember sitting in the training room. You were hitting me up with the ice pack, or I was getting ultrasound on my hamstring or something like that, and I was asking you, so what do you major in, and blah blah blah, and then you just laid it on me like, I want to get in medical sales, and I just was like thinking to myself, like after that conversation, I was like, how do you know you want to first off sell things and second off sell like medical? I was just like stunned that you already had this like inner trajectory that you knew that this is what I want to do. And I never really asked like the follow-up questions, but I always thought like, why was this the thing? And that's a fucking awesome answer, Joey.
No, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I think I remember that conversation too. And honestly, that was probably the most care I provided as a sports medicine assistant. I was more of like the water boy guy, right? Like I was like, hustling, doing like the auxiliary stuff, setting up tables or whatever. But as far as like my ankle taping went, man, like probably negative care. Like people were probably like worse off.
Yeah, put people at risk even more if they didn't have their ankles taped.
Like I probably were like turning their foot weird because I would just like harp on this tape and just like think tighter is better, which is just not the case. But hey, man, I tried and it was a great experience. And also like obviously, being around the guys, it kept me involved and it just adding value. That's kind of that's my thing, but adding value in a different way, and was able to kind of still contribute to the program and be around it. So
absolutely.
And you sorry to cut you off, but you absolutely added value in just one simple way with our best friend Mark Amick. I mean, he had the exact same path that you had with the football field experience, where injuries led to him no longer playing, but he wanted to be around us. He found a way to provide value, and he saw what you did the year before, and he's like, I'm going to do that too. And
literally mentioned you.
Yeah.
Can't beat him, join him.
I love that. And what I was going after is like, what was the transition like between or from, playing football, being a part of the team, having the opportunity to provide this physical value that everyone sees, to then having to transition away from football and provide value that's more on the back end of things? How did you, kind of make that transition? What was that transition like?
Yeah, man. No, that's a good question. I think, for me, I wasn't the Jesse Ado. I wasn't the All-American guy. I was a beta or alpha squad if I was lucky during the week.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah.
We know this.
I know.
This is a group of scout team defensive players.
Dude, but we loved it, right?
Alpha
it was awesome.
Bravo,
it was
dude.
awesome. I remember looking at this guy after we just get off 4 plays. Like, I just got my ass beat by Ulyss or somebody. Or I can't even remember who it was. Will Hilbert or somebody just pancaked me. And I'm like, and I look over at him and he's like, come on, let's go. And then like somebody got pulled and he's just sprinting back in there. And I'm like, dude, I love this man. I love this man. But as far as transition, when I met with Coach Caruso and decided that it was going to be a good option for me to keep playing, just because that would have been my 5th surgery and I was 21 years old. It's like 20% of my life was dedicated to recovery. And I was just like, you know what, I think it's time for me to hang him up. God's telling me it's not my path to be a football guy, but what can I do to help the team in other ways? And that's what I told Caruso in the meeting. I was like, I still want to be involved. Is there something I can do? He's like, well, let me talk to Jim. And then him and Jim talked, and Jim's like, absolutely, let's bring him on. So I think like Wednesday or Thursday of the week was when I, had that conversation. And then that Saturday was like my first day working. And Jim was just like, kind of be a fly on the wall, be a sponge, and try to learn as best as you can. And, Darian, Megan Bush, Murph, all those guys, or I guess Murph was still playing at the time, but really just brought me in and really like showed me like love and respect right away, and like brought me on as like one of the team. So like from the transition side of things, like those people were pivotal in helping with that transition. Obviously it was a dark time in my life. Like I love the game more than anything, and it was super, super hard to give up. But having people like that, bring me in and show me the ropes, and then, being still around the guys, smiling, laughing, having a good time, and just constantly having that positive mentality. It's like, okay, football's not my path, but now I'm going down a different direction. How can I get better, and how can I learn and ultimately better the team in this new role?
That's money. I love that, too, because that's what it really comes down to at the end of the day, is like, how can I find that next positive path? It's the consistent, persistent pursuit of that positivity and like that mental little bug in your head that's always going to counteract that negative thought, because they're always there, dude. Even when you're playing football and you just got your ass pancaked on scout team, like, and you have to sprint off the field, and then you have to figure out a way to come back for those for 4 plays later to freaking show up and do your job the same way, right? Even though you know you're going to get pancakes probably again.
Right.
And it's not going to be easy. And so, like, that consistent hardening of your mind, that mental fortitude that you build, it's just clear in you. And that's why I love having guys like yourself on, because it's just like it's so much fun to try, at least. You know, we're all average guys, but try and articulate those thoughts, man.
No, absolutely. And I think that's life too, and that's sales. You know, I'm not going to get everybody to say yes and use my product or buy my product, but, you know, the fact that I can keep trying, and as long as I stay consistent and giving value and being like externally focused, like that's how I try to live my life, is like look for ways where I can add value, and value to me is like what's beneficial to the other person. Like, are they better off because they had an experience with me? That's like ultimate value. That's kind of how I define it. And like, that's how I try to live my life. Like, if I see somebody at the grocery store, you know, if I'm feeling good, feeling spunky, like I'm going to go help grab their groceries or something. And
For real? You've been doing that?
Oh yeah, I've been doing that. Try to do it once a week, you know. Wednesday is usually my grocery day, and I try to, you know, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Costco, you name it. I'm trying to, hey, can I help you carry the groceries out? I usually do it before I grab the cart, because then it's not like I'm carrying too many things.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, just pop open the trunk and help them and just tell them have a good day.
And then you head in and grab your groceries.
Then I get to go do my own
Dude,
grocery shopping. Yeah.
You do it to, like, you know, girls that you see that you'd be like, I could care about this girl.
I mean,
I feel like that's a potential avenue.
That is a potential avenue for sure.
That could
Always gets risky though.
It's very risky.
Always be prospecting. That's right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't had too many encounters with girls our age. It's been a little bit elderly.
Sure.
That's
they
good,
They
though.
need your help. That's the value.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So you seem like you got a good schedule for your week. Could you break that down? Do you have like a certain, like, Mondays this, Tuesdays that? Like, do you have that, or is it kind of fluctuate?
Well, I mean,
Because I sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
I hear a lot of sales has like a consistency, so you don't have to think about that. So all you have to do is think about X type thing.
are you asking more from like a
Routine standpoint.
Routine standpoint, sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess my job requires me to do some traveling, so like some Sundays I'll get a text and say I have to go head up to Duluth or whatever. So like trying to balance my routine with a job that kind of has those things. It's like adjust and go, right? Caruso preached it all the time, so you kind of have to do that. But like, yeah, I mean, I try to I try to get to the gym, you know, 6-7 days a week.
No way.
Yeah, try to. I mean, I try to.
Sick.
I've been really falling in love with that, health and fitness. I mean, I think health and time are like two of the most important assets that you have, because without either, you can't really do anything else. And so Mondays, I guess, you know, depending on where I'm at, I go support cases. If I have a proactive project I'm working on, you know, go try to catch a surgeon or go try to catch somebody in the hospital and meet with them, and ultimately, you know, build a relationship and know I'm there for support, working with Medtronic or whatever. But as far as like my week outside of work, like honestly, like Mondays is just I go to the gym. I live a pretty boring life, man, during the week. Like,
Don't say that.
no, seriously.
We're gonna make it sound lit though.
Yeah, you can try. That'd be pretty impressive. Like Mondays, you go to the gym, get home, eat. Then I'm either listening to an audiobook or reading or just kind of hanging out with my roommates. Tuesdays, pretty much the same thing. Wednesdays is usually when I get my groceries. It just kind of cycles if I'm in town.
It's value day.
Yeah, exactly. It's value day, 100%. And then same thing, like all the way out Thursday, Friday. And then, you know, on the weekend, I try to go get social engagement. That's a big thing for me. It's a big driver for me. Obviously I'm like an extroverted person. I get my energy from people. Like right now, this is like kind of my dojo. This is like this is like what I love to do, is just chat with people, and like, you know, everybody, like, dude, you guys have said this multiple times in the podcast, and I think it's like at the core of what you guys do, is like everybody's an expert in something in one way or another, and that's based off their passion. If you truly like open your ears and eyes and like listen and watch, you can learn from every single person, every single interaction that you have. And that's something that, you know, sometimes, you know, if you feel uncomfortable, you're like looking down on your phone or whatever. It's like embrace that uncomfortableness, and then, you know, try to figure out, you know, who can I talk to, or who can I learn from, or why am I feeling uncomfortable? How can I manage those emotions and grow from it?
God gave us 2 ears and 2 eyes to listen and observe, and 1 mouth
That's right.
to do half of that.
Right.
half of the speaking, and that's what it is, man. And that's what the podcast has been built on, and we didn't realize that at first. We were talking way too much and providing all the stuff that we
talking over each other.
Yeah, talking over the guest and all this, and like
having questions and like being nervous about how we're gonna ask the next question and like
So
not even listening to what they're saying
or watch what they're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're hitting it home, and we're definitely trying to pass that message along. It's pretty cool.
Well, I appreciate that, and I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking, so I kind of want to ask you guys a question here.
Oh,
it's more of a clarification. I mean, so I haven't been like the most like consistent listener to you guys. I'll just say it up front.
All right.
I can grow in that area of my life for sure.
Hey, if you give us once a month, that's all. Hey, you give us once a year, that's all. You listen to something.
As long as we're providing value to you at some point.
Yes.
100%, dude. A lot of value. That David Meltzer podcast, that one in particular, I've listened to that like 2-3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I follow him on Instagram, LinkedIn. I mean, he's got some good stuff. So
He does.
that's some stuff. But back to the question. So it's more of like a clarification. So, you know, you guys promote yourself as like these wildly average guys, which I get, right? But to be honest with you, like where does the average come in, man? Like you guys are 21, 22 and you started a podcast. Like nobody does that. That's like not average. You're growing and developing each day. Like not many people are like consistently focused on that. Plus, what episode is this? Like,
I don't know.
160, 170, something like that.
yeah, to continue to do that. Like honestly, when you guys first promoted this, I'll be the first one to say, I'll be like, oh, this is gonna be just like a 1-season deal. You know, they'll interview some people and then it'll be that after they graduate college. You guys started that spring semester, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Spring semester, junior year.
Junior year. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess I thought it was just gonna be a college thing or whatever, and then it was gonna be done. But the fact that you guys have consistently produced multiple shows per week. I mean, dude, it's Saturday and this is your 3rd show of the day. Like you know how many other people are out there like drinking or doing whatever they want to do, and you guys are out here listening to guys like me story. I mean, that's far from average in my mind. So I just want to get clarification on like where the average fits. I think I know as far as like a motivation aspect, but I just want to hear it from you guys firsthand, because I know like some other people that I've talked to about the podcast, it's like, why are they promoting themselves as average? Like when you think of Backpocket, like sometimes you think average just because that's kind of how the promotion or the marketing lays or whatever. So I just wanted to get clarification and hear from you guys as far as how that works.
First off, thank you for what you said. Much appreciative. Do you want to go first? You want
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it just briefly, but like it's a mindset. Like at the end of the day, we are average podcasters, right? But it's all perspective. You look at an area in the Twin Cities where you don't see a lot of podcasts. You don't see a lot of 22-year-olds starting their own podcast, right? We started this when we were 20, and it was all from the passion of just like, we want to start a podcast. We love Pardon My Take. And we were like, these guys did it. We can do it. So that's how we started, right? And then it grows and grows and grows because we're passionate about it. But then, like, look at us in the perspective of the podcast world. You got the Joe Rogans, you got Gary Vaynerchuk, you got freaking Tim Ferriss, all these, like, major podcasts. Those guys are eons ahead of us, right? So we're the average. Like, it's the mindset to always remain humble. And we want to make everything relatable. We want to be able to grab that person who thinks or who has those average qualities, because we all do, right? And we want to be able to unpack that, and we want to basically turn those kind of average things into strengths. Because you talk about strengths and weaknesses. Jesse Addo talked about that last week. You talk about strength and weaknesses. Strengths are the great things, the things that you're always going to be good at. The weaknesses, the reality is you're probably not always going to be great at those things. But your average qualities, if you actually look at those kind of things in the middle of the pack, if you don't focus on them, they become weaknesses. If you do focus on them, they become strengths. So that's kind of our whole like marketing pitch around it. There's all kinds of different ways you can take it. But what were you going to say, Andrew?
The word relatable is 100% why I firmly believe we will always tag ourselves as average podcasters or average guys in general.
Correct.
Because if you ever put Declan and I on a pedestal, you're fucking wrong. Like, I'm not better than any other person that has touched Earth. And I firmly believe that if you have the chance to talk to another person, they are at that exact same level as you. They have something inside them that makes them awesome. We are all here. We're all on Earth. And if you think you're better than another person, you're holding yourself back mentally.
100%.
And that's why and people look at average negatively, and so be it. If that's what their perspective is on average, go ahead. fine. Think the mathematical average. One's great, one's low, and in the middle is average. But in reality, it's all on the same level. If that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I appreciate the transparency. I think that's what I was looking for, and I think that's what some of the other people that when I mentioned that I was going on the podcast, and then they kind of listened in or whatever, that's what they were kind of hearing or asking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's more like the average that you guys are saying is like that's the humbleness that you guys like
Correct.
represent, and it's like I'm nowhere near some of these other people, but the fact that I can, get better every day, the war of attrition that you guys talk about on a lot of these episodes, and look at where you guys come, man. Like you were just saying, like I used to be nervous to ask questions versus like now I'm so comfortable behind the mic. Like, obviously you guys have developed a skill set in podcasting, and you said you're an average podcaster. I want you to say I'm a good podcaster. Say it. Dude, I'm a freaking good podcaster. Say it.
I'm a good podcaster.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. No, seriously. Like, I think defining the average as like the humbleness and like looking at life as like an endless staircase. And can I get up one stair a day? Can I get up 2 stairs a day? That type of thing. So I appreciate you guys sharing that. And I love it, dude. That's kind of how I like to live my life too. And I think, one thing I was thinking about before I came in, it's like you guys have, obviously interviewed a number of people through the St. Thomas football program, and it really just shows Caruso's leadership. Like we all kind of have this mold. Obviously, we all have different passions, different purpose, but at the end of the day, we all want to grow and get better. Progress is happiness. Like that's kind of the mentality that we all have and we all share. And like before St. Thomas, dude, I didn't have that. I didn't really know what I wanted to do or do anything like that. And really that program shaped us all. And like I just read this the other day and it kind of stuck with me. It's like leadership is having people do what you want when you're not around, and management is like having people do what you want when you are around. And think, I'm 2 years out of school. Jesse's 2 years out of school. You guys are 1 year out of school. It's like we still have that same mentality, that same passion that we developed through football, through Caruso's like culture. So it's it's just kind of cool to see. And like coming here, it brings it kind of full circle.
Yeah, and it did that with us when we had him on the podcast.
Yeah, that's a great episode as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was literally in the moment when I realized it of like, wow, everything that how we've attacked this podcast from day one has just been through what we knew. And what we knew was what we learned through the football program, and talking to Caruso and be able to literally sit down and reflect on his story, but then how that kind of fit into our whole story was like, dang, we're like preaching kind of what he is talking about. And it just kind of blew my mind. It was nuts.
It was awesome to have on. And every single time we schedule a St. Thomas football player in our books, I get so jazzed because it's going to have just that level that not many people have it all the time, and they feel comfortable talking. There's always that relatable aspect. If something lulls in the conversation, we can hit home this type of bond that we've built. But even guys that didn't finish out the program, last month we had Io and Josiah Bardwell on, 2 guys that ended in the middle of their football career, and they also have instilled what Caruso's taught. It only took 2 years. Football wasn't the right calling. Same with you. Football wasn't the right thing to finish out. You stayed around the program in a different type of way. But this is a bond that it's bigger than us, and it's so cool to tap into it at its nascency.
Good word, dude.
Yeah.
My God.
You've been saying it a lot. So
Oh, yeah, I have been too.
Yeah.
I've also been saying, wow, dude. I'm putting together right now. I don't know if it'll be out by the time this podcast, but we show note all of our podcasts so that we can go through and make social media content. But I've been show noting every single time I say wow. Like you'll say something, I'll just go wow. And so I have probably like 40 clips right now, all like half a second. I'm just gonna put them all together and make like a video.
Dude, yeah, that's
So stupid.
That's incredible.
That's so stupid.
the wow tape.
Wow, the wow tape. Yeah, there you go. Fucking A. It's nuts.
I love it.
All right, Joey. So you're hammering home sales day to day. What's that growth like? How do you get better at that each day?
Yeah, man. No, that's a big thing. So I mean, starting off out of school, the company I was at, it's like one of the most true sales jobs you can get. It's like they give you a territory, they give you a quota, which is monthly, and they're like, go hit it. It's not micromanaged really at all. So you're kind of on your own to kind of figure out success. But I think, again, back to the modeling, like the easiest way to find success or in with this is talking in sales or like within a company is go out and find somebody that's had success, consistent success. Interview them, see what works for them, take little bits and pieces. Obviously your style is going to be different, but at the end of the day, there's a certain formula, to ultimately, generate business. And sales is just like a numbers game, man. That's kind of one of the big things that I've learned. The more people you talk to, the more people you get in front of, the more people are going to like you, like your company, and ultimately like your product. I mean, those three things are what you're really trying to drive home. So I guess two big things that I've kind of learned throughout sales is, number one is you have to always stay hungry. I had a couple nice months or whatever, and I kind of got fat and happy like right out of school. So I wasn't, making the same number of dials. I wasn't meeting with the same number of people. And it goes kind of the same thing with life. If you ever like get satisfied or like get on your pedestal,
Gluttony.
Exactly. It's like you're going to drop. You're going to go down. And that's exactly what happened to me. In sales, you're going to have, applications or customers that you lose. They go with a competitor. It just wasn't a good fit. They saw value in the competitor, or your product's not going to be like a good fit for them. Like it just doesn't work with their business. They're just talking like more B2B versus like B2C or like hospitals that I'm doing currently. And then 3, which a lot of people don't realize, is what you lose in your pipeline is also the ones that you sold. Like if you close a deal, that's gone. Like you're not really going to get repeat business depending on what product you sell. And a lot of people don't realize that. So like, yeah, you can do well for a couple months, but as soon as you drop that activity level, that proactiveness, you're back to ground zero. And then it's like,
not just going to replenish itself.
Exactly. So you kind of always have to stay hungry and keep going, man. You gotta keep that drive and know that you're doing it for the greater good of the company and for yourself financially.
That's money. That's crazy. It's like, do you find, I know you mentioned like your like mentor type role, and you mentioned this Bob character.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like just going to have their conversation, hear their story. And I love that because far too often I feel like people ask for advice. And advice is great, but advice is very geared towards their personal experience, right? And so that advice may not always be the best. Like you listen to that Dave Meltzer podcast where his mom was like, the internet's a fad. Don't go into the internet.
Right.
And Dave's she's like, got a normal lawyer job. He just finished law school. And he didn't listen to her. And he ended up being a part of a company that started the world's first ever smartphone. And like, that's a crazy story, right? And it's a great example of why advice isn't always the best. But then when you look at it, it's like, okay, well, what's in someone's story? That's why we always like talking to people and hearing their story, because there's always like little different bits and pieces and little actions that they did, where if you're paying attention and listening, you're going to take that and then put it in your back pocket, which is like what this is all kind of evolved to. It's like those little gold nuggets, those little things that you can put in your back pocket. So I love that, like, you're just living that. It's freaking lit, dude.
I try to, man. I try to. What would you guys say has been, what has been the driving force to keep podcasting? I know I remember seeing something where there was a time when you guys kind of were hesitant about keep going, and ultimately what makes it so you guys are freaking on here on a Saturday when it's 72 degrees outside. You could be doing a number of other things. It's the weekend, but you're here, like I said, listening to guys like me. What is that drive, and what's that been that consistency for you?
Me? Okay. I would say the willingness to learn and always being curious, right? And Andrew and I are just like so hell-bent on that now. It's so fun to be around each other when we're just doing this, and it's all stemming from conversations. I love having conversations and just like genuinely having this interaction without any distraction. Like you literally put your phone in the drawer. You're like, don't need this.
Laser focus,
dude. And that's why like we get so excited when like you show up with all this energy, dude, and you're just like, let's bring this fucking value. And like that's because you know that we know, and everybody else needs to know that like these kind of conversations are just special and they're very unique. It's a sweet, like mindful release almost. You don't get to have it all the time.
Right.
And so getting to have it and have a full studio now and do it, it just enhances all of it, honestly.
100%. Having the ability to have these conversations, I get so jazzed up. at the end of these conversations that we have, and the guest is just cloud nine, super energized, loved every experience. It's not always that. It's, you know, some of them are just.
Some of them come in with a lot of energy, and it's like, I'm just inherently tired after 2 hours. But nonetheless.
And that in itself is unbelievable. And then also, now we have the opportunity to share these stories to our audience that we have dedicated 2.5 years to building. And this audience is more powerful than we even understand. There are I'm the hair standing up on my arms. There are people that reach out or say they listen to episodes that I would never even imagined.
Yeah.
And it's so awesome, and we have so much content out there that now it's just like, I don't even know what the new listener that comes in, I don't even know how they're going to start. I don't know if they're going to start with me talking about horse betting 2 years ago on a Kentucky Derby, or talking to John Abraham, or
about climate change, and debating grizzly bear versus gorilla who'd win in a fight.
Or they're going to jump in a year and a half later with Giselle Ugardi and the gateway to what led to the rest of season 2 and eventually our mindset of season 3, that type of impact. Or just having my parents on. Is that going to be the first episode they listen to? I have no idea, and I don't know what perspective people have, but us trying to maintain that consistency and impact these people is so deep on so many levels that we don't even have the ability to comprehend.
Yeah, you said it perfectly.
We touched 50,000 people in 1 year.
Gentlemen, that's incredible.
That's just on podcast listens, not alone like all the social stuff we do.
And YouTube and
yeah.
No, man. I honestly, I canceled my tea time for this because no, seriously, no, like not that really for the opportunity for me to come on and like share my story. I didn't care as much about that. It's more just like to hear you guys and kind of be in this environment, and like you guys were saying, energy's contagious, man. Like. And I am on cloud nine right now. Like, even just reconnecting with you guys is incredible, and just hearing like the purpose and drive behind what you guys do is honestly motivating for me. It's like, dude, I got to find something like this or do something else besides my current job where I can make an impact. Like 50,000 listens in 1 year, man. Like think of where you guys can go as long as you continue to do the little things right. I'll drop you guys with a quote. I'm a big quote guy. Everybody makes fun of me, like, but I love quotes. So J.W. Marriott was once asked, like, how did you achieve your success? Like, what do you attribute your success to? It's a typical question. And he goes, we serve the hot food hot and we serve the cold food cold. Basically, the moral of the story is focus on the fundamentals. Focus on the fundamentals. Every podcast you guys are coming into is like you're open. Again, back to your point, two ears, 2 eyes. You guys are fully invested, genuine interest in every single buddy's story. And then that in turn can translate to somebody that's watching, and then it relates to their life. Back again to the relatability. So I think that's incredible. And if you guys continue to do it, again, like sky's the limit for you, man. I'll be a number one advocate. You have me do any type of marketing or whatever, anything I can do, man. I'll help you guys out.
We appreciate that. What's one thing that you do want to try though? What's something that's been on your mind and like, if I had a little bit more of an opportunity, if someone helped me out, what would that be?
Man, that's a good question. I think, more recently, a buddy of mine, a roommate in college, Nick O'Hara. I don't know if you guys know him or whatever.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds like a guy we should know.
Yeah, no, great dude.
Shout out to Nick O'Hara.
Yeah, shout out to Nick.
He's listening, I assume.
I think he is. Yeah, some guys were tuning in, but me and him talked about, we've him and I've kind of shared the same passion for the health and the fitness realm or whatever, and kind of work out together occasionally and stuff. We wanted to just, write like a lifestyle plan. Again, we're not like the guys we're not the Austin Yokums that have our certifications, and there's obviously a time and place for that. And Yokum, I mean, dude, we could have a whole podcast talking about that guy. The guy's a freak. He's a beast.
Yes,
he's a force of nature.
Mm-hmm.
I love that man. But,
chopping wood.
That's right. That's right. But more of like a lifestyle plan. Like what have we learned and what have we done to, ultimately make our health better or make our life better, and basically just throw it out there and see if people find value in it. You know, it's a little side project. It's a passion project for us. And then ultimately, if people, even if it impacts one person, like you guys talked about, then we did our job type of thing.
Exactly.
Audio form, written form, what would be the...
Could be a combo, man.
Yep.
It's very early stages. We're still in the brainstorming phase, but again, like we have this shared passion. We want to do something with it versus just kind of hold it in like you guys are doing currently.
Sick.
So
I love that. And even just like expand on Joachim, like that's when I was reminded about you. His challenge
I
you.
I heard that. That was a great episode as well.
Yeah. And like how there's just like the cliffhanger that he left us with you was like, oh man, Joey Puck, that guy's just up to something. Like you guys gotta tap into what he's doing. And that's not a shock. Like of course you're up to cool stuff, but I was just like God, I wanna like invest more of my time into like what Joey's doing. And it hit me actually even before Joachim came on, and it was when we had Greg Ebosher on.
Yeah, great episode as well.
Yeah, and we were talking about just being like wildly average athletes and like our experiences on scout team, and like Greg, like he's just so serious and like just wants to just get to like he's like on like a bay side with a ton of rocks, and he's just trying to find like one pebble, and it's like, dude, you're looking in the wrong fucking spot, dude. Go look in like the sand where there's one pebble and pick that.
Perfect.
Like imagine him just like losing his balance on boulders trying to find a small pebble. That's kind of Greg's mind. Like he's just in it. You can see it, you can feel it, and he's saying great stuff. And he's just trying to get to that one spot, right? And so that was like that was a thrill of that podcast with Greg. But we posted something about it I think I posted on LinkedIn, and like, dude, you #value coming in from Joey Puck, and I don't remember what you said, but I was just like, this guy's mindset, like I want to tap into that. And that's like why we love freaking talking to the football players, because that mindset, again, just it's always recurring.
Yeah, no, and it goes back again to the culture Caruso created, man. I think it's crazy, and there's something to be said about that. One thing that, you know, I guess I'll just bring this up, is something that I've been working on like more personally, is like likability versus influence. Like I kind of used to try to be, you know, the most likable guy, like, you know, basically didn't want to step on anybody's toes, you know, didn't really have my own opinions. I was just always thinking like, okay, what do they want me to say, versus like trying to be my own person, versus, you know, like I just that was kind of my thought mentality, versus now I'm trying to, you know, still have the same rapport and same, you know, like-mindedness and treat people obviously with respect, but I'm more focused on gaining respect from others versus gaining the likability aspect. I guess what are you guys' thoughts on likability versus influence? Like if you look at Caruso, he's assertive, he's direct, and he loves his players more than anybody. But if you're not in that locker room, you probably wouldn't say he's the most likable guy.
No,
you have to have that mindset, right? That you're not going to please everyone. And that goes a long way, because once you try to start pleasing everyone, you stop pleasing yourself, and then you're going down the wrong path.
100%.
The likability, I struggle with that. I know Declan has the same thing. But I even do that all the time too, just in different ways. Then the value aspect, you got the influence comes with the value, and 100%. That's what you were talking about right away with the grocery thing. Like how can you provide value? How can you influence and enhance what someone's doing and walk away feeling better about yourself, and hopefully they're feeling better about them. And it's hard. I mean, you're not going to be perfect with that with every single person. Sometimes you got to lay down the law and like make like the amount of times that Declan and I will just like get tough with each other and let them know like this is the reality, like, and challenge each other. And sometimes we get heated, and sometimes we walk away and we're pissed. But then 3 hours later or 10 minutes later, we look at each other like, all right, it's back to work. Appreciate the feedback. Something like that. And that in itself, that influence there is pretty strong.
And it's tough sometimes. Like you just trying to you're always like trying to hold each other accountable. But then like, as we've continued to do this, it's like the overall problems just get smaller and smaller. Right. So a good example would be,
the thumbnails on IG.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay. So like, Andrew and I will schedule posts. We do 9 posts in 7 days every single week. And on the left side, we'll have all the episode titles. On the right, on like the middle tile and the right tile, we'll have like just things expanding on that episode.
So it's rows of the guests.
Rows of podcasts. So when people scroll, they can see exactly what they're looking for. So some overall consistency. But like we put a lot of time into those thumbnails. And Andrew, like, just sometimes he forgets to like change the number of the marketing intern, or just like
forget the thumbnail
and all. And like,
And then Declan
I will text him and she'll be like, FYI, you forgot the thumbnail. And then I like hear fucking Andrew scream, like run into the door, slam it. I'm like, oh man, he's kind of pissed. But like I got to do it. Like that's the thing. And as we get better at this, the little things, we start to hyper focus on those little things, and you still got to have that accountability. And it's like, oh, it's tough sometimes because you want to be likable.
Right.
And it's tough. I struggle with myself, man, all the time.
People have called you Decky Spineless.
Decky Spineless, dude. It's a real thing. They're getting made. They're making T-shirts about it, dude.
I'd buy a shirt. What's going on?
Well, the whole T-shirt idea, we'll get. That's another podcast, I think. But my biggest thing right now is, and throughout my life has been, I like the times I feel the worst are when I'm in tension with someone else. So like I'm always trying to avoid that tension. I don't want Andrew pissed at me. I don't want you pissed at me. I don't want my parents, my ex-girlfriend. I don't want anybody pissed at me. I just want kind of peace. I'm just like a low-key happy dude. So likability is oddly kind of a fuel source of that.
100%.
And it's weird to say this, but like my off-color approach to LinkedIn has helped me get away from the likability and more onto the influence. People will look at my LinkedIn posts and message me and say, please don't post stuff like this. I don't want to see you. And
serious?
People will post or will message me, like people I don't even know will DM me and be like, hey, like, I don't think it's smart for you to post this Phil Collins intro video with you guys cheersing with red Solo cups. I don't know if that's going to look good. Or, hey, I'm not sure about this, or I'm not sure about you saying the F word on LinkedIn. And it's like, right, like it's like whatever, dude. And so then I kind of boiled it down to like 3 things. I was like, okay, if they don't like what I'm posting, first off, they might just not understand it. They might just be in another planet and are looking at my post with a totally different lens, and they're not going to get the value from it. 2, I probably fucked up on explaining what I was trying to say. I didn't provide the value to the best of my ability. And like, actually, I think it's just those 2 things. And so that's just really helped me try and figure out and transition more into influence, especially now when we have more people impacting, right? Because before it was just like,
there's a balance to the what you're doing now, right?
Yeah,
there's a balance.
Yeah,
he just said it, and he didn't use the words exactly, but he's not putting it all on himself anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He understands the other person's perspective, and that's so hard to do, right? You want to just to be this go-getter mentality, just a hound, a hungry person. Sometimes you put all the responsibility on yourself, and that hurts you in the long run. And because you're just carrying the world on your shoulders, and you're thinking you're doing it all by yourself.
Right.
And you lose the train of thought. And sorry to cut you off,
but
I just want to touch on it. You've been able to finally take what you should be taking and own that responsibility, but delegate that stuff. That's like, yeah, that's what they were feeling at the time, and they didn't like it.
Right.
It's at the end of the day, if I had a conversation with this person about us cheersing and we didn't get a job, we didn't get the next guest because of us cheersing a beer, and that's what they saw, it'd be like, okay.
You got okay. But well, then like after I got that, I was like, like fuck, like I can't like I feel bad now. I tagged Sam Schuneman, our intern, in our post, and like he's obviously cheersing us as well.
Yeah.
And then and then I was like, oh shit, should I like text Sam, ask him if I should untag him? Because like he's in a position where we were 2 years ago, where it was like
he's looking for the job.
He's looking for a job. He's trying to build this repertoire, whatever.
Sure.
Like not even 10 minutes later, I just see Sam reshared the post on LinkedIn. I was like, all right, this boy's on board, so fuck yeah. But blew my mind. I don't know. It's definitely a balance thing for sure. How do you feel like, where are you at in terms of likability and all that stuff?
Yeah, man. No, like I said, like I'm trying to transition my focus a little bit.
Yeah.
And
your fuel source.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's one of the hardest things. Like I have the same fear. Like I hate disappointing people. Like that's probably like one of the number one things that like are a negative driver for me.
Mm-hmm.
If I disappoint someone, it's like my stomach's upset, I can't sleep, blah blah blah. But like I said, down on the porch, you can't start a fire without some friction. Again, another quote. But no, I think transitioning from like just trying to be the most likable guy or the most popular guy or whatever, it's like, dude, you're not really being yourself. You're kind of just being like a chameleon. Like I'm kind of like a different person here and there. Like I didn't really know who I am. And then now, it's more like, how do I build respect and build rapport with these people? And I think it comes back to value, man. I think there should be a value little show notes for me, a little value cast for how many times I said it. But anyway,
We could do that.
anyways, it's simple. Like give value, get value. Give value, get value. If you give enough value and care about the other person that you're with and having that externally focused mentality, you're either going to get the value that you see that you made somebody's day, you made them smile, you made them laugh, or in turn, they're going to offer you value back and you're going to learn from them as well. So it's kind of a combo deal. So again, it's something I struggle with and something I'm always trying to work on or whatnot. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you kind of have to have your own thoughts and believe what you believe and be consistent in that, because then that's what brings like authenticity, which we could talk like 5 hours about. But,
Absolutely.
but
Let me hit you with a word here, or 2 words that we learned and is actually the title of one of our episodes: reciprocal altruism.
all right, I'm going to need a definition.
All
And
right.
maybe a word of origin.
So it's in the average guy definition, it's giving without expecting anything in return.
Altruism is giving,
Mhm.
is the act of giving of yourself, and reciprocal in return. And the theory is when you give if you give without the expectation in return, you'll get something in return tenfold.
Yeah, and the idea too
Dude, I
is
love
like
it.
in
I love
biology, Caleb Van Diemen, Andrew's boss, and that's who that episode was, season 3, episode 13 or 12, and he talks about like bats and how vampire bats and how if they'll all go out at night, suck some blood, come back. Some people got some blood, got theirs. Other people didn't. It's the responsibility and the reciprocal altruism of the guys who did to share with the ones who didn't, expecting that eventually it'll come back around. That it'll actually, that when they don't get theirs, that someone else did, and that they're going to share the wealth. So it's this culture, it's this bigger culture of like this giving, this collaborating, this all working together that's really going to bring everybody up and elevate everybody. And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. I love that. I think, a lot of people, it's hard for anybody,
Yeah.
As humans, we're probably tend to be more selfish, right? Like you always like, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? But if you can change that focus, that mentality, then that's dead on, man. That giving without having the expectation of receiving. Like, dude, I'm gonna write that down. That might be my quote of the week.
Love that.
Ooh.
That might be my quote of the week.
Yo, I love that, dude. So kind of transition, and I guess I wanted to touch on one thing with just something that's very unique about you. It's J-Man Photography.
All right, let's hear it. What were we breaking down?
Well, I think it was like a really, just like like an outlet to be creative.
Yeah.
How did you kind of come across doing all that stuff? Because it kind of got bigger than you would ever expect.
Yeah, it definitely did. Power social media, man. But no, I think it was like back in high school or like freshman year of college. Like a bunch of girls and some guys were starting their own photography company or whatever, and it'd be like their name and photography after. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, And then for whatever reason, I just kind of I was like on a hike in California with a family vacation, and I was like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna be an iPhone only guy. Like, I'm gonna start a photography little hashtag and just throw it on some of these photos that I take and see what happens. There wasn't really any true like purpose behind it. I just kind of wanted to experiment with it, and so I hashtag J-Man Photography on this one picture, like that's all I hashtag, no caption or anything. And then people are commenting, they're like, no, like hashtag stupid, blah blah blah, whatever. Like people are kind of laughing about it. And then as it grew, like more and more people started like buying in and using the hashtag. Like some of my best buddies that traveled abroad and they're like seeing all this cool stuff. They're hashtagging J-Man Photography. And when you guys hashtagged it for this post or whatever I saw, it's like 506 posts. And I'm like who are some of these people that are like hashtagging it or whatever? But ultimately it was just kind of like a fun thing for my buddies and I to make social media fun and like share experiences and obviously it was kind of dumb and stupid in some.
No, it wasn't.
Don't say that.
Some aspects, but no.
I want you to say it was not dumb.
I was gonna try to wear my shirt, dude, but I lost my shirt. We made those white long sleeves.
Those were sick, dude.
White long sleeve, just plain J-Man photography across the chest, just an ugly looking shirt. But no, that was kind of my thing. But a funny story, real quick. This is when I knew it like got out of hand. I was got a DM on Instagram from some random person that I didn't know, and it was asking me if I do weddings. Like legit asked me. They're like,
with your iPhone?
Yeah.
What, you can film a wedding with your phone?
Yeah. They're like, hey, I saw some of your stuff and I like it, blah blah blah. Like, I wanted to see if have you ever done like weddings or do anything like that? I screenshotted and sent it to the other guys that were kind of doing it. And they're like, no way, dude, we've taken this too far. And I was just like, I mean, on my phone only, I definitely could come out and take some pictures for your wedding, but I don't think they'd turn out the best.
With portrait mode now on the iPhone 10, anything's possible.
That's true. Great move by Apple. Also, quick tip. You guys probably already know this, but if you go into settings and go to like your video mode or camera and video mode, you can change it to 4K. I just found this out like 2 weeks ago.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
We did not know that.
know that.
Yeah, you should check it out, man. It's incredible.
Look
Like,
at
it's
Ty over here.
yeah,
He knows.
He knows.
Ty's like, yeah, you guys are idiots.
No, it's cool, man. And I don't know. Yeah,
Whole nother J-Man videography experience, dude.
I mean, who knows? We might start something here. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think what's really cool just about the whole J-Man thing and why I asked about it was just like it kind of just uses and social media for like what it was originally intended for, which is like sharing photos and updating people about like what you're doing. And not that it's deviated incredibly from that, but you were just able to take it in its nascency and just have fun with it and do something where it was very external from you. And I think that tapping into that creative mindset and just kind of like doing something without really just because you're passionate about it or think it's cool, I think it's just like it's fun.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And now you have like awesome stories that you're just chopping up on a podcast.
Dude, I think the number one learning that came from it is like the power of humor. Obviously, dude, you're involved with it and you're a funny dude, and like the power that humor brings and wants people crave it, right? It's like happiness. And, you know, who doesn't love to laugh and smile, you know?
Right.
The power of humor, like look at Barstool Sports.
Yep.
You know, they started off with like just strictly like humor and hot takes or whatever. Part of my take, like people follow that because it's funny. Like they get value in the aspect that they laugh when they hear it or when they're watching like their Instagram posts or something like that.
Right.
So that was probably the number one thing. Like if you can like create a funny caption or take a funny photo or whatever, people are going to like respond to that.
Amen.
Amen, dude.
This man's been using humor better than anyone.
Didn't you have a show last night?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
I didn't get on. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when I go to comedy, I go to just like the open mics, and it's like a crap. You probably have like a 1 in 5 chance to get on every time.
Really?
Yeah. So like a lot of my comedy that I'm practicing, because I'm just so deep in all kinds of other stuff, is on the podcast. I will go and write jokes and like have jokes ready for stage, and then I'll just work them into podcast conversations and not let these guys know. So like now I'm workshopping material while I'm on the mics.
Dude, that's perfect practice.
Yeah. And so it's just kind of like figuring out how I can like start meshing the two a little bit more together and understanding. But it's been a whole trip, man. Like I got into it thinking I was funny, and like I still think I am, but it's just like when you go to a room full of 20 people and they're all comics and it's a Wednesday night and you're going up there with like raw material that you wrote down from the weekend out last week.
Yeah.
And you just go for it and you get this response. You're just like, oh man,
dude,
that didn't work. But then like sometimes you'll do that, and then you'll say like one thing after like a trailing joke,
right?
And then you'll hear like Gary in the back just start cracking up. And you're like, all right, fuck yeah, like let's go.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Triple down
That's
on
my
that.
guy.
Yeah, you might be laughing out of sympathy, but nonetheless, like there's something there. So I don't know. It's like it's a consistent workshop thing that I've been working on that is just much bigger than what I expected.
Yeah,
And it's fun.
No, dude, that's awesome. That's incredible.
You gotta come out one of these times,
Dude,
it's fun.
I will. I definitely will.
Hell
I'll be
yeah.
your number one advocate. I think I just did something with the mic here, but
No, you're good, dude.
Did you pull it out?
Do you hear yourself?
I hear myself in this year, but not this year.
Oh, okay.
We'll figure.
It's all good.
Yeah.
No,
I'll help you out right now.
we're good. We're good. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Had a boy.
Sorry.
So with you, back to you and your whole journey. With all this being said, what is your average quality?
I'd say patience. Good story. Yesterday we were golfing, and you guys play golf, right?
Oh, absolutely. Let's get around in soon, by the way.
Twist my arm. How long do you think it takes for you guys to play like 9 holes?
I played by myself yesterday, and
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I played in like an hour 45.
Okay, so we're on the 8 tee box, 2 hours and 40 minutes in. These guys in front of us, just no social awareness. Never probably stepped foot on a golf course before. They're like looking for balls, whatever. They're having a good time, but this is like Friday afternoon. Like me and my buddies were looking forward to this all week. And then, to go out, you can't even get in a rhythm. It wasn't even like we were playing golf. It's like you hit a ball and then it's like, wait 10 minutes. So this just goes back to the patience. So then, we ended up just going into the clubhouse and said, hey, the guys in front of us going way too slow. It's kind of ruining our experience. Like, we don't want to play the back nine. Is there any way we can get like a refund? And thankfully they did give us one. But that's something I'm really trying to work on in all aspects of life. Patience with people, patience with myself. You kind of have to have that delayed gratification mentality. And dude, when I did that like Yoakum strength contest or whatever.
Yeah.
That helped me out a ton because I always had set goals, but they were always like longer term or like year goals, right? But in that program, it has you format daily goals. So it's like focusing on little wins on what you can do today to ultimately help climb the ladder and ultimately achieve your long-term goals. So I think that's helped me out a ton with the patience because it's like, all right, I'm getting little wins. I'm getting little wins versus jumping like over a big hoop in order to get to the big win. Because if you don't have like the discipline or like the focused mentality on certain things, you'll kind of drift off in different directions, but you still have that long-term goal, and ultimately you probably won't get the same result if you're not that focused.
Mm-hmm. A lot of these health and wellness coaches, and one of them in particular, Keenan Laji, one of the guests we had on last season, said, start your day with one thing that you can achieve automatically. And his program was drink 8 ounces of water right when you wake up, because that in itself is one of the best physically health beneficial things that you can do is give yourself water, and just do that first thing before you drink coffee is drink 8 ounces of water. Training your mind to do that, and you have the automatic sense of achievement when you don't typically do it, and now you've set to do it, and you've done that. You have those feelings of like, oh, I just accomplished something, and you start your day with accomplishment, whether that's doing 10 push-ups or whether that's sitting and journaling real quick, which is a little bit more time consuming. Pour a glass of water and just douse that bad boy, and you're like, oh wow, I already did something. Now I can go get my coffee and I can get my day going. Type thing. And that's those little wins, right? Because we get lost in trying to achieve these big things, and then they don't seem achievable because we're just stuck in this mundane like cycle of fuck, I failed, fuck, I don't know that this is going on, stuff like that. And Keenan Laji said it best: just drink a glass of water.
Just drink a glass of water, because like getting those small wins will build the momentum.
Uncle Mo, baby.
Uncle Mo. Absolutely,
100%.
dude.
Oh, and when you get Uncle Mo going, there's no stopping him.
None.
Mm-hmm.
0. I love it.
It's a bat out of hell, dude. Not even close. How about what? Oh God, motivation equals
Likelihood plus value
times
value.
Yeah, likelihood times value. Look at this guy,
dude. That is like,
it's
cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to run through a wall.
But it goes back to that same point when you look at a major daunting task like a paper, or like losing 50 pounds, or getting abs or some shit. Like, I don't know, like that is a daunting task. The likelihood is not necessarily there, and the value's there, right? But the
you trying to get abs? Is that what I'm hearing, dude? Because that came into your head for a reason, bro.
Decky shred stacks.
Yeah, dude. Yo, Decky low. What would it be? Decky. I just don't look that great with my shirt off, dude. I look like I'm pretty good with my shirt on, dude. They're like, wow, all right, let's go. And then I take my shirt off, and they're like, fuck, like that's tough. But and that's not the end of the world, right? But we should get some abs in my body. I need to do that more.
Yeah, we could do that.
Keep crushing altar, man. We're gonna get on that.
Bro,
Yeah.
are you gonna come with us?
I'm gonna go. Absolutely.
Free week. We'll go all 5 days.
Twist my
We
arm.
can go.
man.
You can go 7 if you'd like, but we usually stick to 5.
5.
Yeah.
Most people do 5. So if you want to do 7, because that's what you do, then we're right there with you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll negotiate.
Our people will talk to your people.
Yeah.
But I guess like breaking it down into like just drinking a glass of water, like the likelihood of waking up and drinking a glass of water and the value you get from that, boom, right there. There's your
That should be a
motivation.
motivation. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I think that's the more empirical way to look at it. I don't know.
No, I love that.
Patience is your average quality. Now going right off that, what's in your back pocket? This is something you hone in on. It's your characteristic that makes you Joey Puck.
I think it's just simple, man. Just smile. Like you hear like Tony Robbins, all these other people, like change your physiology and change your life, or change your story, change your life. Like anytime I feel negative or feel, uncomfortable or, not have the motivation to do a certain thing, it's like, dude, just freaking smile. Laugh at yourself. Like make yourself laugh. Think about something that was funny and like change your story, change your physiology, sit up a little bit, get your energy levels going and attack it. And then, being okay with the uncomfortableness, because there's going to come a time when that uncomfortableness isn't uncomfortable anymore. Now you're comfortable with doing the uncomfortable, and that's one of the hardest things. But yeah, man, just freaking smile.
I think it's like rooted in like being self-aware.
Yeah.
And just like being aware of the fact that you should just sit up, or being aware that you need to like change your mindset and instill some positivity or some happiness. Just that's one thing where it's just like if you can just recognize it, your natural sense of accountability as a person is going to take care of it.
For sure.
The amount of times my dad has texted me over my years of just saying smile is ridiculous. He has got this post-it note on his desk, and he'll just take a picture of it and maybe just has it saved in his phone, and he'll send that picture to me all the time. Just smile. Because you're absolutely right. When you can just find the moment to smile and just relieve all of that tension in your body, it's actually a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing. And, until you try, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, boy.
All right.
I love that.
So you've challenged us just with what you've provided today and the
With your
values-
presence.
With your presence.
I don't know about that,
Yeah.
but I appreciate it.
And let's take that even further. Someone challenged us also to get you on in that little, train. Yoakum said, get Joey on. We got Joey on. Who would you like to get on the show to continue that train?
Yeah, man. No, I think can I say two? Is that
Yeah.
legal?
Oh yeah.
Lay it down.
Okay. I think like from another St. Thomas football guy that I talk about, a guy that's living his passion and went on a completely different path once he like found his passion in college. Nick Wavogel.
Okay.
I think he'd be. I'm not gonna tell his story, so I'll wait. Just throw out a little teaser.
Okay.
But I think he'd be awesome. But also I think anybody elderly. I'm saying 85, 90. I think would be cool. Obviously, you guys have a certain target market, and you're reaching that. But a lot of times, we're looking at like Instagram people or LinkedIn people, and it's usually all people around our age that kind of have this like-mindedness, versus why not try to get a different perspective of somebody elderly that has lived 4 times the amount that we've been on earth, and hear their story and hear what they have to say and the amount of wisdom they have and whatnot. Obviously, you're probably not going to get like the sound bites you want. You might have to have a little bit more patience or whatever. But I just think it'd be cool to get a new perspective with you guys asking these same questions and kind of telling your story back and forth, and then having them share their story as well. I think it'd be definitely something I'd tune into.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We're actually in the woodworks of
Are
doing
you?
something
In the
like
works.
that.
Beautiful.
Because we've had that thought. We're like, we need to expand our horizons, and you're right on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you're curious, look up Will Steger or Rob Swan.
Will Steger, Rob Swan.
Yeah, we'll
both
text
those
it to you.
guys.
All right. All right.
They're sick.
All right.
So we've been just hammering you with questions all day. You've been deflecting and doing great,
And also asking us
and
a ton of
embracing.
questions.
And then, dude, then you've been turning it back. But we're gonna give you
A spotlight here.
a spotlight. What do you have any questions for us?
You guys answered a lot of them. I think, you guys answering, the average thing was kind of something I wanted to find out more about, and the drive behind podcasting. But what's like on the horizon for you guys? What's something besides this podcast that you guys kind of want to tap into? Obviously, you're tapping into comedy a little bit more, but maybe this is more geared for In Sierra Mist over here. What do you kind of want to tap into?
It's similar kind of with what you've been saying with that lifestyle, that thing that you're trying to push out there because you think what you've done or what you've done could help someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to tap into what's up here because I drift way too much up here in the craziest directions, and it's my mind just goes in holes that it doesn't need to be touching, or if it does, it needs to redirect and find an equilibrium. And we talk about it all the time. Jordan Peterson hits it home really heavy with chaos and order, and chaos is in your life every day, and there's order in your life every day. But you got to bring it back into its balance, and because it's going to push you in too much order, and then you're going to be complacent and not push yourself enough. If you push yourself too much in chaos, your life is going to be deeply wrongful. So I don't know if it's an exact intention, or no, I don't know if it's an exact we're going to hit 10,000 downloads type of mindset. It's more so of just continue to unpack it and ask the right questions. And I have a life in the process of getting a life coach to instill that deeper questioning that I know my parents have done an incredible job at asking great questions and pushing me and guiding me. And I know Declan does a great job. And Faith, my girlfriend, does a great job. And the people in this house are freaking awesome. And you guys, all of that. But then you get someone that's not even touching your life in a day-to-day, in a
routine sense.
In a routine sense. I don't know how to say it. They have no preconceived notions about you.
Yeah.
And strangers, and the strangers can ask you those questions, deeper questions. And this life coach, I think, is going to help me just kind of continue to ask the deeper question, so that I can continue to be on this warpath. And I love the path I'm on, but I falter at times in ways that I think I can be better at. And that's, again, the average guy's mindset that we instill. It's like I know I'm probably got some I got some gifts to me in that sense, but I'm average at honing at that craft right now, and I want to be better at it. So that's what's hitting. That's what's right now.
Dude, you're a beast. You're a beast. That's awesome. That's incredible.
It's just your hyper focus and like your ability to hyper focus is amazing. And I think when you start to look at hyper focusing on your own mind, it's gonna do some great things.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be really cool to see how that all kind of transitions.
So thanks for that question.
Yeah, sweet question, bro. Asking good questions.
No, I love it, man. No, this has been it's been a pleasure. How are we looking on time here?
We're on to our last question.
Are we?
Yeah.
Well, I want to do some more market research here.
Okay. Yeah.
So what has been like? So people are going to be tuning into this episode that have probably never listened to the podcast before, and they're tuning in for Jay, man. There's no secret. There's no secret.
I don't know about that. But
well, no, there will be people that you know, like, will be like, "Whoa, Joey's on a podcast," just like you had already.
Yeah.
Like, so these people are listening. What podcast of ours would you turn them on to get them started on the back pocket journey?
Dude, that's a big question, man. Like you said, I think the beauty of you guys in interviewing all these different people is like the relatability. Like the Gabby or whatever her name is not gonna have the same story as me, obviously, but she's gonna adhere or relate to a different audience than I'm gonna relate to, or than Jesse's gonna relate to, or whatever. So, but you know, for me, from my side of things, I think it is that David Meltzer episode, man. I just think there's so much value in that, and that guy, obviously, again, success leaves clues. This guy has consistently been in pursuit of his passion, potential.
You're hitting it.
Consistently, persistently pursue
your potential.
Of your potential.
Yeah, I mean, he hits it dead on, and he lives it out, and he's always throwing out value on his social media platforms and stuff like that. I think, you know, at least for me, that was one I would definitely just start out with and feel the fire.
Hell yeah, love that. It's a great answer.
That
guy's a beast, man.
Yeah.
I sometimes forget that we had him on.
Dude, he's a shark. It spins up.
Yeah, fins up. What's funny is we're always like trying to just, you know, leave the back pocket trail in his own life. And
yeah.
For Christmas this year, we sent out like Christmas cards to all of anybody that wanted one for free, and he wanted one, and so we sent him one and like wrote like just a long note of like our journey from the past year.
Yeah.
And like he just responded and was like, "That's fucking sick." So he emails us all the time.
Does he?
Yeah. He's a good dude.
Dude, that's incredible.
He's a good dude.
That's incredible.
But getting to our final question, Joey, before I ask it, I just want to say thank you for coming on, and thank you for asking us questions, because sometimes the guests and it's no wrongful action, but we'll be asking the questions the whole time, and then it'll end with a chance to open up questions for them, and they'll have their time. But you asking questions throughout this whole conversation, you know, we don't get to talk about ourselves a lot, and we do appreciate you asking those questions, because we love passing that message on. And if anyone's listening to this podcast right now and be like, "Wow, you didn't give Joey enough time,"
that's his fault.
No, Joey had the intention of this conversation. This conversation was sculpted and formed by us three, and I think that's one of the coolest experiences. So to finish off with one final question. What did you learn today from the moment that you woke up to when we're having this conversation?
Yeah, man. No, I think there's a ton I learned just in this last hour. So, I mean, dude, I'm going to go literally sit in my car and just take some phone notes just so I can retain some of this stuff. But I think what it comes down to, man, like-mindedness and passion is contagious. Like in this room right now, man, I don't know if you feel it, but I'm like ready to go. I'm going to go work out probably after this, you know, like I feel more energy now than I did coming into this room, which is a testament to you guys and the value that you guys bring. And really, I kind of lost my train of thought here.
That's awesome. You know, you're setting that. You're going to listen. You're going to find these notes inside this own podcast, and you're going to be able to take that away and put that in your own life.
Exactly. And I think the other point that I was trying to bring up is that really that you guys are far from average, and you're freaking good podcasters, dude. Like,
Thanks.
The fact that I just lost my train of thought and you jumped in to help save me, and then I was able to retain my train of thought, like, that not everybody's able to do that and pick up on that. It's social awareness, emotional IQ, some would say. But yeah, man, no, you guys are freaking good podcasters. The sky's the limit. Like I said, keep giving value. You'll get value, and focus on the fundamentals.
Thank you, Joe. You're a fucking man.
Sharks
Fins
up,
up,
Fins up, roll
boy.
the boats. Got you, ma.
Thanks, Joey. That's a wrap.
I appreciate it.
West Coast in my heart, right where I'm meant to from the start. It's so much warmer than the secrets you've been